Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at Gardevoir. Ladies and gentlemen, Gardevoir is back. The lovely Robin Schultz, who you should know by now is a fairly good player, went and got 12th place at the Latin American International Championships this weekend using Gardevoir, a deck which has been coming in and out of the format since it kind of came around, really, in Burning Shadows. And it seems to be making a bit of a comeback. Gardevoir's one of those cards that's always been clearly amazing. And although it's not always been on the top tables in every tournament, it's always been one of those decks that's been threatening to come back on a regular basis, and it looks like that is happening. Obviously, and this probably shouldn't surprise you, it's based around Gardevoir. Gardevoir, everything about this card is good. Okay, the HP, which is slightly lower than the average for a Stage 2, is a bit rubbish. But other than that, the ability lets you attach an extra fairy energy per turn. That's amazing. The attack does 30 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. That's amazing. Adds up quickly and means you can KO literally anything. And the GX attack allows you to shuffle 10 cards back into your deck in a format where universal recovery in the form of Puzzle of Time has gone away. This is awesome. But the deck is so much more than that. And the thing that really makes this deck phenomenal is Alolan Ninetales GX. Alolan Ninetales GX is basically broken. The ability says that when you evolve it, you can search your deck for 2 item cards and put them into your hand. And of course, one of them's going to be rare candy. Maybe even both of them are going to be rare candy. And then of course we've got Alolan Vulpix, which was always played in Gardevoir anyway. People would use Alolan Vulpix to search out their Stage 2s, hoping to get the rare candy. Well, you can still use Alolan Vulpix to search out your Stage 2, except you also search out Alolan Ninetales, evolve it, and guarantee that you get the Stage 2 Gardevoir. But this deck goes further. This deck goes, you know what? I'm playing Alolan Ninetales to give myself consistency. I'm playing Rare Candy for Gardevoir anyway, so let's go nuts and just chuck in a bunch of other Stage 2s. So we see a 2-1-2 Swampert line. Swampert is phenomenal. I have said for a very long time that Stage 2s have to be great in order to see play. And Swampert had a really good ability, but even then, it just didn't quite have enough. Discard 1 card from your hand, draw 3 cards. It's Zoroark's ability, but you get an extra card, but it's on a Stage 2. But now that we've got Alolan Ninetales in the format, now that we've got that extra added consistency, we can afford to play a 2-1-2 Swampert line and use it reliably. But Robin went, no, I can do even better than that, and he plays a 1-0-1 line of Solgaleo GX. Now, I should mention, this is the second Solgaleo GX. What does it do? Well, it removes weakness from all of your Pokemon. So any deck that came along being like, ha ha ha, I'm Metal type, I can take you down. Yeah, no, they can't, ladies and gentlemen. You've lost your weakness. But not only that, it's got the amazing Turbo Strike attack for just a double colorless energy. And given that Gardevoir's attack does more damage for each energy on it, and on the defending Pokemon, clearly you're playing double colorless anyway. You do 120 and you attach 2 basic energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Solgaleo is played as a 1-0-1 line, but it does so many great things. It gives you a metal type attacker. I mean, in the mirror match, it will be kind of hilarious how much of an advantage this gives you. Or against Sylveon, it will be kind of hilarious. Or against Granbull, that's going to give you one heck of an advantage. And it takes away your weakness, so you don't need to worry about metal decks yourself. And it accelerates energy, bearing in mind Gardevoir is a deck that wants to get a bunch of energy on the field. It's only a 1-0-1 line. It's not necessary, but bearing in mind you've got your Alolan Ninetales to set up in the early game, and then you've got Swampert to keep it rolling after that. This is quite brilliant. And then we play Tapu Lele to search for supporters. Obviously, we play Tapu Lele to search for supporters. And it really is the Pokemon line which sets this deck apart. We'll go through the rest of the deck in a moment, but honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it's the supporter line. Gardevoir's always been good, but when you add in the Alolan Ninetales, the Swampert, and the Solgaleo, it just goes to a whole nother level. Decks like this are not supposed to be consistent. Decks like this are supposed to be a pain to get rolling, and they're supposed to be inconsistent, and it's just supposed to be too difficult to get all these multiple stage 2s out. And Robin's gone, yeah, but with Alolan Ninetales, which then feeds into Swampert, it's really not that difficult. And he's right. Now, in terms of energy, obviously you're playing double colorless because lots of energy, and obviously you're playing super boost energy. Reason you're playing super boost energy, if you've got 3 stage 2s out, it's 4 of any energy, bearing in mind that's 120 extra damage for Gardevoir, and you can use it to attack with Swampert if you want a water type attacker. But the point very simply is that this is a stage 2 deck. It's not, oh, well, I'm going to get a stage 2 and hopefully I'll have a second one before the first one goes down. This is a stage 2 deck. So Super Boost Energy is amazing. And then obviously we've got some basic fairy, because why would you not? In terms of supporters, this is one of the surprisingly few decks where Professor Elm's lecture becomes absolutely over the top good. Search for free Pokemon with 60 HP or less and put them into your hand. Firstly, this means you can get the Alolan Vulpix. Please remember that you can use Beacon for 0 energy, meaning that you can then use your energy for the turn to retreat whatever you started with. And you need to get your Mudkip, and you need to get your Ralts, and you need to get your Cosmog, and you need to get your Ditto Prism Star. So quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this becomes amazing. Speaking of which, of course you play Ditto Prism Star here. It can evolve into any stage 1 Pokemon. So, yeah, it's over the top good. It's just redonk. In a deck like this where you're playing multiple evolution lines, it's a no-brainer. We see 4 copies of Cynthia. It's the best draw supporter in the format. Remember, once you've had a few turns and you've got 1 or 2 Swampert on the field, your supporters in terms of drawing are going to get a lot less important. We see 3 copies of Guzma, because what is not less important is pulling Pokemon off the bench and KOing them. 4 copies of Rare Candy. Look, you're playing multiple stage 2s. You're going to need a lot of Rare Candy. You can actually reuse the Rare Candy by using Gardevoir's-GX attack, but this seems like a pretty good time to point out that Alolan Ninetales' GX attack is also great. It gets an automatic 1-hit KO on Ultra Beast, and with Blacephalon being potentially the best deck in the format at the moment, and Buzzwole still being great, it is very much worth bearing that in mind. It's a decision that you need to make. You can either have a 1-hit KO on an Ultra Beast, or you can recover a whole bunch of cards. You can't do them both. It's going to be a game-to-game decision here. 4 copies of Ultra Ball because it searches out any of your Pokemon, and that's important. 1 copy of Timeable because flip 2 coins for each head, search for an evolution. This is an evolution deck. That's pretty good. 1 copy of Max Potion because, well, it completely heals. And when you're attacking with Gardevoir, one thing you can do is not put too much energy on, smash, Max Potion, and then keep rolling. Obviously, you can reuse this with your GX attack. 2 Max Potion in a game, not the end of the world. 2 copies of Choice Band to do a bit of extra damage. Yes, you do extra damage with Gardevoir by attaching more energy, but having a tool that does 30 more 20x or a GX, still pretty phenomenally good. And then 2 copies of Brooklet Hill. Brooklet Hill lets you search either for a basic water or a basic fighting Pokemon. And here you've got Alolan Vulpix and you've got Mudkip. It's not the most phenomenal stadium ever, but it's not too bad. It's kind of useful. The other thing to remember is there are Prism Star stadiums around. Thunder Mountain strikes me as a particularly good one that you need to get rid of, and you cannot Field Blower them away. Interestingly enough, no Field Blower in this deck. That doesn't mean Field Blower's not good. It means you don't have room. And also, Shrine of Punishment. Shrine of Punishment is way good against GX heavy decks. You're playing a GX heavy deck. you need to get rid of Shrine of Punishment. This gets rid of Shrine of Punishment. This is a phenomenal deck that's clearly been made by an exceptional player who's done a huge amount of testing. It's the kind of deck that a year or two ago would not have been viable because you're really relying on stage 2s and you're playing multiple different stage 2s. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? It works. And it's partly Alolan Ninetales and it's partly Swampert. But I'm going to be honest, it's mostly Alolan Ninetales. So now I want to know from you guys, what do you think about this deck? Do you think it looks pretty good? Or do you think it's a kind of deck that's so awkward, it needs to be played by someone on the level of Robin Schultz to be successful? Go nuts in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen, but please do remember the rule. I mean this very sincerely. Be nice. Then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about lots of other fun games. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.